25 who will qualify for the grand finals at the end of the season. Lawler's had a terrific run. He's beaten Ian Glover, Stuart Carrington, Simon Bedford, Stuart Bingham, Stephen Lee and Dominic Dale. And Fu, listen to the players he's beaten: Stephen Maguire, Robbie Williams, Mark Williams, Ricky Walden, Ali Carter and Sean Murphy. So he's beaten some terrific players. He's played well, Fu. He will start favourite, but Rod Lawler is having a terrific run, and it would be a bit of a fairy tale finish if he were to win the title here tonight, having of course been relegated from the circuit at the end of last season. Got back on through the Q School, and now tonight is looking to win this title. That would be some story. The trophy is in place. There'll be a little camera shot before we begin.
There's water off the table, yeah, 2 bottles.
Pete Williamson is going to referee. Strictly neutral, even though he's from Liverpool, as is Lawler. Fu's had a couple of hours to get ready for this. Lawler just 40 minutes. But we know that Rod Lawler will give it everything, as he always does. Such a tough player to beat. The audience just being ushered in. And we're about a minute or two away from the start here in this K. Suzanne Theatre, the South West Snooker Academy in Gloucester. PTC 1 in this very venue was won by Stephen Maguire. PTC 2 by Martin Gould. There's also one of the Chinese PDCs won by Stuart Bingham, and one of the European ones won by Mark Selby. Here's Marco Fu then. Getting a good hand as he enters the arena, and here's Rod Lawler as well. So settled back for an interesting match, I think. I think the key thing here will be the extent to which Lawler can control the sort of match that it is, which he did do in the semi-finals against Dominic Dale. If Fu here can get off to a flyer, then he's got to be favourite to win. He's the world number 29 from Hong Kong, and he's 77th on the PTC Order of Merit coming in, but obviously he's going to fly up that list. And Rod Lawler, he's the world number 65. He's 41 years of age. He was 26th on the PTC Order of Merit. So he's going to be inside that top 25 you need to get in, although of course he's got to stay there by the end of the season. Well, there's the handshake. And a little trophy there as well. As I say, Pete Williamson now referee. Just getting out of shot. Well, two nice blokes here, Fu and Lawler. Hard workers, not complainers, not moaners. They just get on with it. And one of them is going to be £10,000 richer in a couple of hours' time. Let's see who it's going to be.
Thank you. The first frame, Rod Lawler to break.
It's Rod Lawler to break in frame 1. He's had such a terrific run so far. Can it end in victory this evening? Well, Fu, as I say, he beat Maguire, he beat Williams and Walden and Murphy. They're all top 16 players. Ali Carter, for all intents and purposes, top 16 player. I think that's how most of us think of him. So some terrific wins already, and no messing there. He went full-blooded at the red, but he hasn't potted it. Fu has to attack, and he has to try and prevent Lawler making this into a tactical battle. I think, though, the players that he's beaten has got to give Fu confidence. He is a very inconsistent player. When he plays well, he is unstoppable. When his form isn't there, it really isn't there, but today it's been there. And he'd be very confident, I think, coming into this final. These two have never played before, oddly enough, in all the years they've been on the circuit.
Rod.
So Rod Lawler pops the first ball. Big deal for him. He's been in a major ranking final in 1996, the International Open. Beat Stephen Hendry along the way, lost to John Higgins in the final. This would be a real feather in his cap were he to win this one this evening. If you're watching the semi-final, you'd have seen an
6.
extraordinary third frame against Dominic Dale. Dale needed 4 snookers, got them all, then he got a 5th. But Lawler flew the yellow from out of that snooker, and that was the end of the frame. But to my word, he was put through the mill. He's had to work very hard to get this far. And another night of hard work is surely ahead of him.
Seven.
And a nice crowd in, it would seem, for this one this evening. Not the final many would have predicted, I'm sure, but let's see what they can serve up for us.
$13. $18.
Made a good break in the first frame against Dale in the semis, 61, which settled him down straight away.
Thanks. 19. $25. $26.
Rod Lawler, one of those players who's kept his head down over the years and just got on with his career. He hasn't got involved in the various politics and sniping that's gone on. He's a pure snooker player, loves playing, could have put his cue away in the end of last season, having dropped off the circuit, gone and done something else with his life, but he loves the game too much for that. Wasn't too proud to go to Q school, and came through. Since then he's had a really good season. This is his 43rd match of the season if you count the Q school. That's a lot of snooker, so no wonder he's match fit.
$32.
There's Peter Williamson, the referee, keeping a watchful eye, as he always does. Well, he doesn't like those, so it's going to be this one, close to the corner pocket.
$33.
Yeah, that finished nicely.
$35.
Now then, is he on anything here? I don't know whether he can see the red to the right corner. It looks like he may be just impeded by the black. He walked very gingerly round there to have a look. Gonna have the white cleaned. Well, he's got this one to the centre.
36.
Just a little short of blue. Would have preferred to be the other side of it. He's having to power it in and out of bulk. He seems to have played this pretty well.
41.
Good start this from Rod Lawler. Halfway through went for a red this, and this has been the result.
$42.
So what a chance for a 1-0 lead.
48.
What a story this is turning into. Rod Lawler, the comeback kid of snooker, it would seem. Certainly what we've seen this season.
49.
Got to the last 16 of the Wushy Classic, the first ranking event of the season. Beat Steve Maguire there, very nearly beat Graham Dott. And it's wins against top players, of course, that give you confidence. So the fact that he's already today beaten 3 ranking event winners, Stuart Bingham, Stephen Lee and Dominic Dale, is going to give Rod Lawler a hell of a lot of confidence. Beat Peter Ebden in one of the earlier PTCs this season.
$56.
Well, this is how he started, as I said, against Dale. He had a big break in the first frame and it just settled him. Kept his opponent cold in his seat.
62.
So you can see from the graphic that he's a red away from the snooker's required stage. That's why they're applauding, but Rod Lawler can tell you that these frames ain't over till they're over. Dominic Dale got the 4 snookers he needed in the 3rd frame of their semi-final, although in the end Lawler did fluke the yellow out of a snooker to win the frame. Nevertheless, a great start. Well, no one could accuse him of not being match fit. He's more match fit than anyone else on the circuit. And you know, the slim pickings down the ranking list, or rather the financial pickings down the ranking list, are pretty slim. There's no money early on in the ranking tournament, so £10,000 to Rod Lawler, I can assure you, will be very welcome this evening.
70.
Great stuff, this. Terrific.
76.
Well, Rod Lawler, unstoppable it would seem. Great start to the final, no signs of any fatigue setting in or anything like that. Far from it. Looks really up for this.
$84. 85.
Well, Rod Lawler turning into snooker's own Rocky.
92.
The very distant prospect this at the end of last season, but look at him now. Terrific. Black for the century. What a start for the final. Rod Lawler. It's not only the play that has made a difference for Lawler, it's
100.
also the confidence that the seasonal start that he's had has brought him. It's made all the difference. This break doesn't give him confidence, nothing will. So Marco Fu, I'm sure, was expecting a tough match. It's just got a lot tougher for him. With Rod Lawler, that started like express train.
$109. 114.
Rod Lawler, and he wins the opening frame of the final. And what a great break it was. And it all came from his first real chance. Marco Fu took a red on. missed. Rod Lawler immediately got in, and 114 means he leads 1-0. Great start for the Liverpudlian. Well, as Pete Williamson sets up the balls, I can tell you that the next snooker here on livewellsnooker.tv will be the Shanghai Masters. That starts a week tomorrow. There are regional restrictions in place, but I hope you can join us for that if you're able. First of 4, remember, but what a great start for Lawler. That'll give him a real boost to start the final in such impressive fashion.
Second frame.
But we know Fu's playing well, so it's a question of what he can do if he gets a chance. He only had a half chance there and just missed that long red to start, so can't exactly say he threw the frame away.
One.
A great red from Marco Fu this time. His first pot of the match. Marco Fu has won one major ranking title, the 2007 Grand Prix, runner-up in the UK Championship and the Masters, semi-finalist in the World Championship, former top 8 player, one of the very best to come out of Asia, that's for sure. But
Marco Fu, 4.
Things not going his way early on in the final. That was a surprising miss. Just slightly hampered queuing here over the other red. Just needs to keep himself dead still.
One.
Oh dear.
Rod Lawler, 1.
Unexpected really. Queued so well in the first frame. Just Missed the pink to the middle there. One of the differences of having the PTCs here in Gloucester is the finals always played in a proper arena, so it feels like a final. In Sheffield, where they had them last year, and where indeed it looks like they're going to have them next year, they were just cubicles with no atmosphere at all, very little space for any spectators, usually just friends and family, chosen few, and just didn't feel like a proper final. But this does. Of course, that in itself just adds to the pressure on the players. Yes, they like a nice atmosphere, but it reminds them that this is an important match. There's ranking points, there's prize money, there's merit points as well on this.
Thanks. Nine.
Marco Fu last year got married to Shirley, who's here in the audience.
16.
I remember at the Championship League, which is the qualifier for the Premier League, they were together, and it was snowing. It was January. Shirley had never seen snow before from Hong Kong. Everyone was complaining about it. She went out and took a photograph.
17.
Very excited. Well, he's lost position. He's lost
24.
position there, has Marco Fu. So it's going to have to be safety. Scored very well against Murphy, had a century and a 90-odd.
Marco Fu, 24.
But has to settle for just 24 there.
One.
He certainly didn't intend the kiss on the pink.
4.
Fu hasn't quite settled in yet. We know Lawler has, he had the century, the 114, but Marco Fu just hasn't quite got going in this final as of yet. But there's nothing wrong with that one. It's a correct pass.
Eleven.
Well, some of the referees that we've seen today are in the crowd, keeping watch.
$16. 17.
Seem very confident just from his general demeanour, and he should be. He's had some great wins. Oh, he wouldn't be very happy with that one. Didn't mean to screw into the blue. Made this red a little more difficult
20.
than he would have liked. Seems to still have his logo on from the Australian Open. Seems to have his Melbourne logo on. We're about as
21.
far from Melbourne as it's possible to be, really. But I suppose he doesn't wear the waistcoat around the house. Just forgot to take it off. Would have thought someone would have mentioned it to him. Well, that's no good. He's knocked the Reds into a position where none of them
26.
pop. So there's a chance here for Lawler. 53 in it. Still plenty on though.
Marco Fu, 26.
So as I say, 53 ahead, 67 available. Disappointed there. That was a good chance, it seemed, to make it one apiece. Lawler's safety game was certainly very good against Dominic Dale, although Fu himself is a fine tactician. And this frame is still in the balance, because although Fu's 53 in front, those Reds are nicely spread. We've already seen Lawler make the century, the 114 in the first frame, so we know that he's scoring pretty heavily. So Fu by no means certain yet of drawing level. That wrong, and he's given Lawler an opening here. As you can see, he's close to the red. He doesn't want to push it, so he's raising the cue, and he's missed it. And it was because of that, really. He was worried about the push shot. That's a reprieve for Fu. Well, dear, dear, that's a surprise. Now, is it going in? No is the answer. Well, just can't quite kill this frame off. That was a good chance. He only needed red and a sizable colour. Now if Lawler can dish up here, this would be an early blow to strike. Fu got no looking at all really in the first frame, but he's had plenty of chances in this one. And at the moment he's in his seat, sweating a little. But that is not a good shot. And he needs a colour here, Rod Lawler. You can see he's 44 behind. Sorry, there's another red down the table. I was getting carried away. I thought there was 43 on there. There's actually 51, so let's not panic. Yes, he left it awkward and he's missed the black. And Fu just needs this red to leave snooker required. So Marco Fu has made a bit of a meal of this frame, let's be honest, but it looks like he's about to win it nonetheless. Which to him ultimately is all that will matter. And it means we'll be level. You could do the colour here though. We've seen many frames won with just one snooker needed. So concentrate on knocking this in as well, which he's done. So it looks like one apiece. Not a pretty frame, but a frame that's got Marco Fu on the scoreboard, it would seem.
8. 9.
Remember, it's still best of 7. Every match in the
14.
Players Tour Championship is, including the final, the grand final,
15.
won in Galway last season by Stephen Leavick, Neil Robertson 4-0. Two players who, with all the rest, have fallen by the wayside over the last few days.
15 on the frame.
Last men standing in Gloucester, and they're level. Rod Lawler won the first with the break of 114. Marco Fu has won a scrappier second, so it's one apiece. We've had 4 PTCs so far this season. The first Asian one was won by Stuart Bingham in China. 2 UK ones won by Stephen Maguire and Martin Gould. And first European one in Germany won by Mark Selby. Top 25 on the UK and European order of merit qualified for the grand finals, as did the top 7 from the Chinese order of merit. To be eligible, you have to play in 2 UK PTCs and 3 European. Obviously you can play them all, but at least 2 in the UK and at least 3 in Europe. So we're level. There are the imposing television lights providing illumination in this fine arena here in Gloucester. Rod Lawler to break. Now level.
Thank you. The third frame. Rod Lawler to break.
still going to plan.
1.
Never really see any reaction from Fu, but you just saw a slight one there. Just a slight shake of the head. Only slightly, but it was there. Didn't get on a colour, so rolling up to the green.
Marco Fu, 1. Foul.
Well, it's not so much the in-off, it's the fact the red
4.
has come back, so it's now onto the middle. So it's a double whammy really for Lawler. Could have borne the in-off had the red not come back, but it has come back and it's given Fu an opening. Marco Fu from Hong Kong, educated though in Vancouver, Canada, which is a country that's produced many terrific snooker players of years gone by. Not so much at the moment, sadly, but many of you will remember, of course, Cliff Thorburn, the greatest of them all from Canada, won the 1980 World Championship. And in his era, it was Kirk Stevens and Bill Werbenet, Jim White, Alain Robidoux came along a little later, Bob Chaperon. There is actually a Canadian. Well, he's supposed to be on the circuit, Floyd Ziegler. I don't think he's actually played a match yet.
6.
Canada was a regular stopping point for the circuit in the 70s and 80s, but for whatever reason, whether it was Poole taking over or what, it just kind of dried up there, and it's now Asia and Europe that are the main states outside the UK.
7.
Has been a ranking event in Hong Kong as well, 1989,
13.
run by Mike Hallett, and they had a huge audience, something like 3,000 people in the arena itself. Dino Kane, New Zealander. And I work a lot with Mike on Eurosport and some of the other players of that era, and they are completely mystified, players of that generation, why some players, and there's only some, but some notable ones, don't seem to like travelling. They say that they couldn't wait to go and see the world playing snooker.
19.
They found it a great privilege. Black, he's not available at the moment. The red is obscuring the potting angle. Pink is up on the green spot currently. If he pots it, it will go back on its own spot. Marco Fu has a pretty unflappable way about the table. His temperament very good and plays in a nice pace, not too quick, not too slow, just in a nice rhythm.
25.
Now, wrong side of the blue. He'd like to, well, he's gone too far. I was going to say he would like to have got rid of that red by the black.
30.
He's come way too far though. So that will have to
30.
be that, just 30. Again, I think he'll be disappointed not to have made more there because he scored so heavily in this tournament. He leads 35-0 in frame 3. It's noticeable Fu, he's taken a few on, and I'm sure that although he's never played Lawler before, he knows that there's a danger he could get kind of sucked into the tactical stuff. He can play that stuff, Fu, but he's played so well to reach the final playing attacking snooker that that's what he wants to continue to do. Keep it an open game, play to his own strengths and not his opponent's, which is entirely understandable. It's amazing how often players do get kind of dragged into playing the way their opponent does. Well, that red has just, I think, stopped to prevent Lawler cutting it in the middle. One more roll, it would have been on. So obviously Lawler's got to make sure he gets this white back to ball, which he's done. Well, enough with that one, because the cue ball just coming in behind the pink has cut off a few options for Lawler. Started playing relatively late by today's standards, didn't play until he was 13 on a full-size table. But he made his first century at the same age, so that will tell you, Lawler, how quickly he improved as a boy, and been a pro now some 22 years. As long as the white stays out, this is good. Oh dear,
Foul.
that's unfortunate, really.
Number 4.
Now, can Fu cut this red in the middle if he gets the white far enough across the D? That's what he's looking at. It would appear that he does cut. He already leads by 39 points as he comes to the table.
One.
Well, Hewell on the cushion isn't ideal by any means. And that's why he's missed it. White was on the side cushion. And it's made it more difficult.
One.
Well, that's worked out really well. He's got the black atoms on it. The reds are open, so chance for Lawler to get back into this third frame. Well, again, could have been better. This has got very tense all of a sudden. It was a bit of a flying start with Lawler making the century in the first frame, but second frame was scrappy. This frame's been a little scrappy. Now, is this a plant? You might have to make it. Got to be careful, doesn't nudge the blue with his waistcoat. Oh dear, well, that's he caught the first red wrong, frankly. So just 8 scored from that visit. Worse still, this red is on, or is it? Well, it was, but he's not potted it. Well, Lawler will take,
6,
I guess, a bit of confidence from the fact that Fu hasn't really got going yet. Been a long haul to get this far. 6 matches won already for each of them. This one, of course, this final, the most important of them all. And certainly if you win the PTC, you're guaranteed a place in the grand finals. Runners-up, obviously, very good chance, but if you win one, you'll be in. So, big prize at the end of all this, a big money final stages place up for grabs as well. Not a great help really, not in the black on the cushion, kind of takes you out of commission. But the blue's still available.
$13.
Just struggling here to keep control of the cue ball. You can see him sighing there with a bit of disappointment. Yes, he just
18.
lost ideal position, so, well, he's nurdled his way back into it, but I think he's going to run for cover here. 14 points in this frame.
Rod Lawler, 18.
All reds still on the table, 14 points between them. It's Marco Fu leading. You see Rod Lawler there just a little frustrated that he didn't make more of that. I think possibly because Fu had missed himself and it was a chance to really punish him and get him under pressure, but we're now back to the safety stuff. Well, I say that, but this red has come out. And this time, is it Fu going in off? It is. Well, that's very similar to what happened to Lawler earlier. He left the red to the middle as well, same pocket. This time Lawler the beneficiary of in off. Well, it's been a long day for everybody. Long few days, particularly the staff here. Let's not forget, these events don't just happen by accident. Paul Mount runs the Southwest Snooker Academy. He's got a dedicated team, including Janie Watkins, who is the media officer, and of course, World Snooker's own team, Martin Clark and Paul Collier, in particular, the two tournament directors, who last night they didn't leave till 1 AM. They had to be back here 9 o'clock this morning. So these are long days for everyone involved, these PTCs, not just the players or the spectators. So I might have to give him a nudge, that lad.
Seven.
Just didn't get into that, did he? Play for it to the middle, but he's on it to the corner. Well. Rod Lawler playing naughty snooker. Who'd have thought it? He's usually strictly polite, which I suspect is what this is going to be. Going to tuck him up in behind the green and pile the pressure on.
13.
Not nice, but it wasn't meant to be. Good hit, but where's it going to finish? Well, it's okay for Fu. Could have been a lot worse. Well, things are getting a bit sticky down that end now, aren't they? Well, it's Lawler that snookered this time, but we expected him because he could get a snooker back as well. Problem is, he could easily leave a chance for an easy snooker for Fu as well. No, it's the first one I suggested, the snooker back. He caught that perfectly. He really did. Oh, this is good old school snooker, not to everyone's taste certainly, but there's nothing wrong with a bit of variety. Players of a certain vintage watching this, loving every minute. Those that are still alive. That's not quite a snooker, you can see the red. A little impasse here though, just wonder how it's going to kind of break. Well, that guy who was sort of dozing in the audience, he might need a nudge in the ribs in a minute. This is what you call nip and tuck. Cat and mouse, call it what you like. It's tense. It will end if the cue ball comes to rest somewhere behind the red, and one of the two will play the red away and put the cue ball in behind the green or the brown. At the moment, we haven't come close to that happening. Or it could end with Fu making a mistake like that. Well, a miscalled, but we'll see whether Rod Lawler is going to put him back in or whether he's going to just play the snooker himself. Yes, he's having him put back. I suppose it's already a snooker, is his thing.
Sorry.
It's important these go back right, of course. Pete Williamson, the man in charge.
Yeah. You know better than I am. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Well, he says he's playing a different shot.
Right.
So they seem not too bothered about whether it's absolutely exact. He's going to come the scenic route, it would seem. Well, this is tough from here to go round the table. There's not much margin for error. If he hits this, every credit. Because that red is in between green and brown, so he's got to be spot on here. Looks like green.
On the miss, Rod Lawler 4.
It was a good effort, that. But it could be here sometime, Marco Fu. Attempt number 3, second attempt this way. Wasn't far away, just a slight adjustment needed on the first attempt from this long way round. This looks better. This looks really good. This looks excellent. But can Lawler pot this? I think he may be able to, you know. So a great hit, but even so it might be costly. Couldn't, or wouldn't, whichever. He's got him in another snooker. He was maybe a little close to the red to pot it. Well, again, this is tough. The red's on the cushion. The cue ball's in behind the brown.
Foul on this. Rod Lawler 4.
No danger, that will be going back. So 15 points behind now, Fu. Half-hour frame. Marco Fu in trouble here. Rod Lawler has done a proper number on him. Well, I think the minute thought on the way back. The problem is, and the reason he's gone with pace, even if he hits this red, no idea where it's going to finish. So this is proper trouble. And it's not inconceivable he could be here till he needs snookers. We're a little way off that yet. Well, there's 4 more attempts, 19 in it, so attempt number 3. Again, going with pace, it would seem. Just hoping for the best if he hits it. He has hit it. And what's the result? He's not too bad, as again, could have been a lot worse, but he could be in trouble again. The green and the brown are in good positions for snookers, and Rod Lawler's really got his teeth into this frame. So Rod Lawler leads by 19 points on the last red, so 35 available in what's been a half-hour frame and counting. Wouldn't say Foo's rattled, because he doesn't get rattled, but doesn't seem quite as even-tempered as he usually is. Got to be careful of that green. Pete Williamson is keeping watch. Maybe that just made the red a little more difficult. This is the problem, I think, when there's been a lot of safety. The fluency goes, the rhythm goes. You know, Lawler started with a century. No Foo can make breaks, but so scrappy, you kind of get a little dragged down, because ultimately these frames only end by potting balls. You can't play safe the whole time. You've got to knock them in eventually. Well, one more roll, that would have been pretty deadly. The dreaded double kiss, but fortunately for Lawler it's finished awkward for Fu, and that blue hampering queuing. Well, he can get the cue in, it's still not easy, particularly as I say after all the safety we've seen, and there you see he's missed it. Not a great surprise really. I think this red's going to have to be easy for either one of them to knock it in now. Fu, it's fair to say, had a result there. Good. He may be able to just clip the side of the red. He's having a look. Maybe a little bit of swerve on the white. Somehow I think he'll settle for that. Well, this is danger for Fu. He's already 19 behind, 35 available, so can't afford to. Well, he's caught the pink, has he? Foul was called straight away by referee Pete Williamson, but not a miss because he didn't miss. He hit the red.
It's not a miss, no, he hit the ball.
Yeah, Rod Lawler just querying that. He did hit the ball, but it was a foul, so he can't have them replaced in their original position. Could put Fu back in, or obviously play the shot himself, but it wasn't a miss. What it was a foul though, so there's now 25 in it. And it means that Lawler needs red and a colour, and it's snooker required, so he's going to take this on. It'll be some pot from after all the safety play we've seen. Every credit.
One.
So just a colour required to leave Marco Fu needing a snooker. There's the maths. If it's green, then it'll be 29 the difference with 27 available. Well, my word, he's had to fight for these, hasn't he? This frame has been real hard for old school snooker, but they all count the same, and Rod Lawler is in the mood to roll up his sleeves and get stuck in. That's what he's done ever since he dropped off the tour at the end of last season. Went into the Q School, battled. He's battled through the qualifying this season, he's battled here at the PTC, and he's going to be ahead for the second time in the final.
6. 13.
Well, what he's going to get from Lawler is 100% effort. That's what he's put into this frame, and he's got his reward. It's taken about 40 minutes
18.
or so, but he's back in front. And Fu, the concern I have for him is he's not scoring. He has been scoring heavily in the tournament, but not so far this evening. His fluency is kind of disintegrated, and Rod Lawler has ultimately taken advantage. He's played some good safety.
24 on the frame. Rod Lawler.
And he leads 2-1. 2 more frames and Rod Lawler will be the winner.
Okay.
Well, a long frame match, so they're both going to just step out. We're only really early on in the season. September, there's plenty of snooker to come. The next big ranking event is next week, Shanghai Masters. We've got the new International Championship in China and the UK Championship as well before Christmas, and then after that it's pretty much non-stop all the way through to the World Championship, you know. Christmas, of course, in Sheffield, the theatre that provided so much drama, or played host to it anyway, down the years.